we have been too serious so far. So I'm happy that we have started to smile. Well, let's be protocol once more, not for too long. Monsieur Kassomuti, okay, my good friend, past president of the Republic of Mauritius, Ms. Wakana Nakamura, first secretary, my good friends all over here. Some of you haven't met for quite a while. My good friend from Germany, Axel, the renowned digital evangelist. My new friend, Dr. Idakazu. Welcome to Mauritius, ladies and gentlemen, press, distinguished guests. I would like to start with something a bit humoristic. I think, first of all, that this project will suit better a 30-year-old guy, not someone like me with Greg. And I have the impression that somebody of 70 years old is marrying a girl of 30 years old. And that's unbelievable. Anyway, I have no notes. I haven't prepared a speech, but I have prepared about 9 or 10 slides, so I will speak with the same emotion I used to speak, same truth, same truthfulness, same transparency, let me say. So the title of our speech is very bold. In fact, it's very daring. I am inviting my friends, my business friends, the startups, the entrepreneur, the companies, to follow or to lead us into building this new economic pillar, which we have called the blue economy. And I am absolutely confident, the way I used to be confident when I launched products, new products, innovative products, starting my good friend Philip Salles' round. Okay, we started to revolutionize the printing and the publishing sector. We introduced what was known as computer-aided designing based on the introduction of Macintosh computers, and we have indeed led the way towards making printing better magazines, better newspapers. You will recall that 40 years ago. I have my good friends from the textile sector. I think it has been very innovative, life-changing for Mauritius, creating 100,000 jobs in the space of 4 or 5 years. The only time when we had full employment was in 1988, I can still recall. It's the only year we had a balance of trade surplus, thanks to disruptive technology. A few years later, my good friends, some of whom are here, we were doing offshore business. At that time, it was known as offshore business. Then the second wave came, changing the name into global business. My good friend and my partner, Judge, who is here, can remember the hard days when we were trying to really set up this second phase of offshore business, rebranded global business based on KYC, know your client concept. No one knew about what was KYC in 1990, 1995. No one knew what was the concept of KYC. But that was the basis on which the second phase of our development was based on. KYC, know your clients. We have to rub shoulders with people who we know who were the actual ultimate beneficiaries and not terrorist money. No money based on illegal money. And Mauritius really took off on the basis of this new rebranded offshore business. Christians here can, I think, remember how we were insulted by the then people having vested interest in the old version of our offshore business. And now I'm here today because I want history to repeat itself. I'm speaking without notes, but I can share with you my own confidence that if you follow closely what I'm going to demonstrate to you, we can together, like my good friend Vishal said, as a group, as a school of fish going in the same direction, I think we can lift our country into a new phase of economic development. Just this morning, I read in the newspaper the latest report of IMF saying, quoting what IMF said, the fact that the Chagos issue has been delayed, it is depriving our country of 1.3% gross national product, which is enormous. Our forecast is we're going to reach only 2.8. With that 10 billion rupees of Chagos money that would have lifted our gross national product to 4%. With what I'm going to demonstrate to you, if we go together like a school of fish, everyone looking in the same direction, sailing the same direction, I think not 10 billion rupees we can produce in terms of forex currencies is 3 times this amount of 10 billion rupees. I'm serious in what I'm saying because I'm not supposed to be here tonight, okay, with my gray hair, as I said to you, but it is so remarkable that in the past 3, 4, 5 years, we have been importing 20 to 22 billion rupees of fish, which is twice the amount of what Chagos agreement eventually would be worth per year. 20 billion rupees. And that is equivalent of investing into, according to my rough calculation, my off the hook calculation, it is equivalent to the investment of 50 mid-sized vessels. If we can all join forces and invest into 50 mid-sized vessels to go and fish in our Indian Ocean, that can produce 20 to 30 billion rupees worth of fish. That is twice, 3 times Chagos would bring us eventually per year. I'm speaking with some emotion. That's the way it used to be when I see numbers. Look at the audit report that was produced recently based on 2022-2023 statistics numbers. The volume of fish we imported, 130,000 tons, multiplied by about 150 rupees per kilo. That would amount to 30 billion rupees worth, 2025, according to whether it's good quality fish or high quality fish. And what did we export? It's not there. We exported only something like, according to the same report, 30,000 tons, which means only about a quarter of what we have paid for the fishes we have imported. Could be a big chunk of it is for the local tuna factories. But still, these fishes have been imported into our island, for which we paid 22 billion rupees in hard currency. And we complain, businessmen, we are, that when we apply for Forex, we can get it only drop by drop or in 1 week's time, or paying a premium of 5-10%. When our own ocean, if you could move to the next slide, please. I was going to demonstrate that we are surrounded by, well, we have said it, but to me it's a fallacy if we could really put ourselves into the business. More so, I searched, like every youngster 30 years old, ChatGPT or Gemini, right? And Gemini said to me while interrogating Gemini, I said, Gemini, can you estimate to me what is the volume of tuna we are fishing every year in our ocean? This is what Gemini said to me. 1 million tons of tuna fish, probably most of it by people coming from everywhere. What if we can invest in our own longliners and go and fish, sorry the expression, this damn tuna, for which we can earn 20, 30 million rupees in the next 3 or 4 years? That would solve. More, you would agree with me, you complain that you can't get the foreign currency when you have to import the fishes. Yeah, that would solve your problem. That would solve the problem of all the businessmen applying for forex to pay for their own imports of raw materials or for machinery or what else it is necessary for them to. I mean, that seems pretty obvious to me, that if we do something about it as a group, as one nation, government, private sector, in government obviously, right, for all the procedures, for all the processes, but I want our own businessmen. I can tell you, and my good friend have said to me that one mid-sized vessel would require only, I say only, 15 million rupees of investment. And 50 vessels times 50 million rupees, if my calculation is right, is less than 1 million rupees. And you know what's the trick here? The trick is we need the courage to do it, and the boldness to do it. And I am bold enough to inject, before I leave this work, so to speak, what it requires to lead the way for one mid-sized vessel to go and fish. Again, sorry, it is not done tuna, for which we need to pay our forex every day. And that will solve, I am pretty sure, as an economist, I can tell you, if we can raise our gross national product by 2 or 3%, we will bring down the indebtedness of our nation, for which every day I can see in the newspaper we complain about high cost of living. And the government would say, the indebtedness of our country is so huge that we can't do this, we can't give that, we can't do that. Okay? And it seems to me so obvious that if we can indeed, as a nation, like we did, you know that 50 years ago we didn't know how to make a t-shirt, right? Stamini Daga, you were witness to this, right? You know, 10 years later, we become the record producer of Woolworth pullovers. Woolworth pullover, 50 million pieces. I can remember because I was part of the game. I made the woven labels for them. Yeah, and without our woven label, which gave the mark, its real mark, right? I don't think that textile sector would have grown the way it has grown during the 1980s and during the 1990s. Do you know that 30 years ago, Christian will confirm it to me, you are in the offshore business, we didn't know how to receive, how to manage, let's say, a company investing using our jurisdiction to invest into India. But we learned how to domicile these offshore companies. Today, correct me if I'm wrong, there are probably 20 to 25,000 international companies housed in Mauritius, and they are being managed by people like Christian, about I don't know how many management companies there are today, 200. We know how to fish, but why can't we go and fish? I think because we are afraid of the ocean. So, I've told you about technology, and in fact, this is the time for us to have this disruptive technology, which is called artificial intelligence, in the midst of our economy. We had all these technologies which today appear really very stupid, the cut-make and trick technology, right? But what was innovative at that time today seems stupid. Maybe artificial intelligence will look stupid in 50 years' time when we will have robots, right, looking after us when we go into old age, right? But this disruptive technology is really an opportunity for us to lift our economy into a new phase of economic development. Next slide, please. Right, this, I am sure, will lift us into building this new economic pillar. It's not from me, this new frontier thing, it's Gemini, to confess, right? Gemini said to me, look, the next frontier would really be the ocean. And this artificial intelligence thing will lift productivity by 20, 30, 40%, as will demonstrate to you my good friend, Dr. Hidekazu Kasahara. We are not reinventing the wheel. This is being done in Japan, this is being achieved in Japan, this is being achieved in Indonesia, and I'm sure with your help, we can also achieve it in others. What's this? We have a vast economic zone, 2.3 square kilometers. We have underutilized and explored marine resources. Now we have the advent of artificial intelligence. What else do we need? We need courage. We need leadership. And I'm asking you, let us lead. Let us have this leadership and drive our country. When a country develops, when a country becomes richer, what's behind? Businessmen become richer. Entrepreneurs find opportunities. But if it doesn't exist, let's create it, these opportunities. And we have all these free strengths that have been unexplored so far. Next slide, please. What's this artificial intelligence? My good friend Dr. Hidekazu will tell you. But just to remind you, it's smart fishing. It's finding potential fishing ground with maybe 70%, 80% probability that we'll find the fishes there, compared to conventional methods, actual methods, which could be only 40 or 50%. If it can be raised to 80%, then when you go out 10 days, on 8 days, you will see the fishes where they are. It's about real-time monitoring. All right, people will say, George, what are you saying? We already have the data. But what is innovative is we get the data every day. Once the fisherman comes back, we have new data. And when you use new data, it's all about how artificial intelligence works. It is about getting this new data constantly, every day, into the machine. The machine learns, and it will spit out, it will roll out, all right, the tool, which will be better and better and better. Okay? The more we feed the machine with updated data, the better the rolling out of the tool. Next slide, please. This is pretty obvious. If it takes 10 hours to go and fish 100 kilograms of fish, if we increase productivity by 30%, then in 7 hours you can bring back the same volume of fish. And what does that mean? Better standard of living for the fishermen, all right? Reduce costs. I am told, I'm not a specialist of vessels, that fuel costs could represent as much as 40% of total cost. Can you imagine if we save 30%? What that imply in terms of petrol costs? Pretty obvious. Less time spent at sea and improve livelihood, and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. Oh, the impact on the economy. That's what I was always interested with as an economist. I'm also a businessman. I like to make money, of course. Yeah, but very often my interest goes beyond my own profit and loss and balance sheets, right? What would be the impact on the economy? Pretty obvious again. I have just demonstrated to you. I'm not saying something gas. IMF says that with 10 billion rupees of Czechos money, it will raise our gross national product by 1.2 or 1.3%. Imagine if we could reach self-sufficiency in the consumption and production of fish, and then if we start exporting, and I have good friends here who are prepared to go into the whole ecosystem of the fishing industry, which means from fishing, we can go into processing, we can go into packaging. Last night, when we were discussing with Dr. Idekasu, with Bashar, we said that tuna, you know how tuna is considered as a premium food in Europe? But here it's known as, sorry about it, the food of the poor. I think it needs a rebranding. It needs a pretty rebranding exercise to bring in the plate of all of the Mauritians here in the name of sustainability of our food production and consumption. We were talking about this. I am prepared. My lab and my team, you will know who they are in a moment. We are all prepared to go along the whole ecosystem to lead the way and to make it happen not only for our company, but also for our country. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen.